Carrie Fisher, child of Hollywood and Star Wars royalty, dies at 60. Carrie Fisher, the actress, author and screenwriter who brought her a combination of nerve, grit and hopefulness to her most indelible role, as Princess Leia in the Star Wars movie franchise, died on Tuesday morning. She was 60. A family spokesman, Simon Halls, said Miss Fisher died at 8:55 a.m. She had a heart attack on a flight from London to Los Angeles on Friday and had been hospitalized in Los Angeles after her Star Wars success. Miss Fisher, the daughter of the pop singer Eddie Fisher and the actress Debbie Reynolds, went on to use her perch among Hollywood royalty to offer a commentary in her books on the paradoxes and absurdities of the entertainment industry. Star Wars, released in 1977, turned her overnight into an international movie star. The film, written and directed by George Lucas, traveled around the world, breaking box office records. It proved to be the first installment of a blockbuster series whose vivid, even preposterous characters, living a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, as the opening sequence announced, became pop culture legends and the progenitors of a merchandising bonanza. Miss Fisher established Princess Leia as a damsel who could very much deal with her own distress, whether facing down the villainy of the dreaded Darth Vader or the romantic interests of the roguish smuggler Han Solo, wielding blaster pistols, piloting futuristic vehicles and, to her occasional chagrin, wearing strange hairdos and a revealing metal bikini. She reprised the role in 3 more films: The Empire Strikes Back in 1980, Return of the Jedi in 1983 and, 32 years later, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, by which time Leia had become a hard-bitten general. Lucasfilm said on Tuesday that Miss Fisher had completed her work in an as-yet untitled 8th episode of the main Star Wars saga, which is scheduled to be released in December 2017, winning the admiration of countless fans. Miss Fisher never played Leia as helpless. She had the toughness to escape the clutches of the monstrous gangster Jabba the Hutt and the tenderness to tell Han Solo, as he's about to be frozen in carbonite, "I love you." Solo, played by Harrison Ford, caddishly replies, "I know," off-screen. Miss Fisher was open about her diagnosis of bipolar disorder. She gave her dueling dispositions the nicknames Roy, the wild ride of a mood, she said, and Pam, who stands on the shore and sobs. She channeled her struggles with depression and substance abuse into fiercely comic works, including the semi-autobiographical novel Postcards from the Edge and the one-woman show Wishful Drinking, which she turned into a memoir. For all the attention she received for playing Princess Leia, Miss Fisher enjoyed poking wicked fun at the character, as well as at the fantastical Star Wars universe. Who wears that much lip gloss into battle? She asked in a recent memoir, The Princess Diarist, having seen fame's light and dark sides. Miss Fisher did not take it too seriously, or consider it an enduring commodity, as she wrote in The Princess Diarist, "Perpetual celebrity, the kind where any mention of you will interest a significant percentage of the public until the day you die, even if that day comes decades after your last real contribution to the culture, is exceedingly rare, reserved for the likes of Muhammad Ali." Carrie Frances Fisher was born on October 21, 1956, in Beverly Hills, California. She was the first child of her highly visible parents. They later had a son, Todd, and said in Wishful Drinking that, while her mother was under anesthetic delivering her, her father fainted. "So when I arrived," Miss Fisher wrote, "I was virtually unattended, and I have been trying to make up for that fact ever since." In 1959, Miss Reynolds divorced Eddie Fisher in the wake of his affair with Elizabeth Taylor, whom he married that same year. Miss Taylor later left him to marry Richard Burton. Any semblance of a normal childhood was impossible for Miss Fisher. At 15, she played a debutante in the Broadway musical Irene, which starred her mother, and appeared in Miss Reynolds's Las Vegas nightclub act. At 17, Miss Fisher made her first movie, Shampoo, 1975, Al Ashby's satire of Nixon-era politics and the libidinous Los Angeles culture of the time, in which she played the precocious daughter of a wealthy woman, Lee Grant, having an affair with a promiscuous hairdresser, Warren Beatty. She was one of roughly 24 young actresses considered for the role of Princess Leia in Mr. Lucas's marathon casting sessions for Star Wars. Cindy Williams, Amy Irving, Sissy Spacek and Jodie Foster were among those who also read for the part. Many of Miss Fisher's line readings from that film have since become part of the cinematic canon. Her repeated, almost hypnotic exhortation, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope." Her highly unimpressed reaction when Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, arrives in disguise to rescue her from a detention cell. "Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?" Star Wars became a financial and cultural phenomenon, launching more movies and a merchandising machine that splashed Miss Fisher's likeness on all manner of action figures and products while casting her into an uneasy limelight. She partied with the Rolling Stones during the making of The Empire Strikes Back, hosted Saturday Night Live and had romantic relationships with Don Aykroyd, with whom she appeared in The Blues Brothers, and Paul Simon. She and Mr. Simon had a marriage that lasted less than a year, and he was inspired to write his song Hearts and Bones about their time together. As its lyrics go, two people were married, the act was outrageous, the bride was contagious, she burned like a bride. In The Princess Diarist, she admitted what many fans had long suspected. During the filming of the first Star Wars movie, she and Harrison Ford, who was married at the time, had an affair. Miss Fisher acknowledged taking drugs like LSD and Percodan throughout the 1970s and 80s and later said that she was using cocaine while making The Empire Strikes Back. In 1985, after filming a role in Woody Allen's Hannah and Her Sisters, she had a nearly fatal drug overdose. She had her stomach pumped and checked herself into a 30-day rehab program in Los Angeles. Those experiences later became grist for her caustic, comic novel Postcards from the Edge, whose chapters are variously presented as letters, diary entries, monologues and third-person narratives. As the main character, Suzanne, writes of her rehab stay, "Mom brought me some peanut butter cookies in a biography of Judy Garland. She told me she thought my problem was that I was too impatient, my fuse was too short, that I was only interested in instant gratification. I said, instant gratification takes too long." The book was later made into a movie, directed by Mike Nichols from a script by Miss Fisher, released in 1990. It starred Meryl Streep as Suzanne and Shirley MacLaine as her movie star mother. On film, Miss Fisher also played the scene-stealing best friend of Meg Ryan's title character in the 1989 romantic comedy When Harry Met Sally. On television, she played satirical versions of herself on shows like Sex and the City and The Big Bang Theory. She had a recurring role on the British comedy Catastrophe, seen here on Amazon, as the mother of the character played by Rob Delaney, one of the show's creators. Her survivors include her mother, her brother, Todd, her daughter, Billy Lord, from a relationship with a talent agent Brian Lord, and her half-sisters, Jolie Fisher and Tricia Lee Fisher, the daughters of Eddie Fisher and Connie Stevens. Miss Fisher had a Dorothy Parker-like presence on Twitter, where she ruminated on the inexplicable mania surrounding Star Wars and on her French bulldog, Gary, in playful messages filled with emoji. Last year, after the release of The Force Awakens, she wrote, in part, "Please stop debating about whether or not I emoji aged well. Unfortunately it hurts all three of my feelings. My body hasn't aged as well as I have." Correction, December 27, 2016 because of an editing error. An earlier version of this obituary misspelled the surname of the spokesman who confirmed the death. He is Simon Halls, not Hall.